Well, greetings, everyone, and welcome to a special online event today called Awaken Your Rhythm, Discover Drumming for Spirituality and Health. My name is Stephen Dynam, the founder and president of the Shift Network, and I'm delighted to be with you here today exploring a new frontier for us here at Shift, and that is rhythm as a vehicle for awakening and transformation, and really a lot of other things that you might not think of. We're here with Christine Stevens, who's a acclaimed author, music therapist. She's taught drumming all over the world to cancer victims, Alzheimer's patients, the musically challenged, and people just want to have fun. And she's also a speaker, an author, and music therapist. She's got master's degrees and the author of Music Medicine, the Healing Drum Kit, and also the founder of Upbeat Drum Circle. So really a wide diversity of background with rhythm as a vehicle for healing, for transformation, and a lot of fun. And so we're super excited to explore this new frontier and really see how it can enhance our spiritual growth as well as our overall well-being. So welcome, Christine.
Thank you.
It's great that you open with a little bit of rhythm as your first introduction. Well, I know tonight. I can tell this hour is going to be a lot of fun, and I want to let people know that we're going to have a chance to go much deeper with Christine in an upcoming program, really our first at the Shift Network that focuses on rhythm as a portal to your awakening. So, more to come on that towards the end of the hour. So, Christine, I'd love for you to share a little bit of the backstory of, first of all, just what led you to dedicate your life to this work. Clearly, you've got many books and organizations and outreach efforts. This is really at the heart of your offering for the world. So what turned this into your life path?
Oh, thank you for that great question. And thank you for having me here. I'm very excited that we're going to have drumming in the global platform of the Shift Network. And I wanted to just maybe offer an invocation chant to begin this. Whether you have a drum or you don't have a physical drum, we all have the drum of our heart. If you just put your hand on your heart, you feel that rhythm. And this chant, Spirit of the drum, awaken me. Spirit of the drum, awaken my soul. Spirit of the drum, carry me back to myself. So it's funny, when I started in my work in music therapy, I almost failed percussion class. I couldn't hold the sticks correctly and read the music, and I, like many people, thought I didn't have rhythm. And years later, I was invited to a drum circle, and I put my hands on a conga and experienced this joyful creative expression. It was a very powerful inward experience of being in the pocket, the groove. It was so much easier than improvising on other instruments like piano or guitar. Like, it was just primal. And at the same time as I was having this inward experience of connection to rhythm, I felt really in sync with this whole community of strangers that became, friends. I felt connected, and I had a sense of that unity consciousness. And we know from science that when we drum together, it builds kindness and compassion. And I really saw that in my work in the war zone of northern Iraq, bringing together warring tribes through the power of drumming and transforming a war zone into a space of love and connection and creative expression. And so that was a very big turning point for me. And I spent the next 10 years just studying every world percussion I could get my hands on. And I brought drumming into my work as a music therapist and started to see tremendous transformation. Probably the highlight for me was working with an Alzheimer's patient, an Irish man, Mr. O'Malley. And I would go in and drum with him, and he would drum back with me, back and forth. And he was late stage Alzheimer's and really didn't remember me each time I came, but yet his rhythm was improving, and he was experiencing a lot of happiness, and his face would light up and his feet would start tapping. And one day his daughter and her husband came into the room while I was working with him, and they were amazed to see their father having so much fun. And of course, I ran down and got 2 more drums. And as the 4 of us were drumming, Mr. O'Malley started singing, "My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean." And I was like shocked. He'd never sang before. He had this immediate eruption of this song. And I looked over and his daughter was crying, really weeping. And I found out that her name was Bonnie, and he named her after that song. And she
Mm.
said to me, I've been visiting him week after week. He doesn't know who I am, but today I know. He knows I'm here. And it just made me realize the drum has all these benefits. It had the physical benefit, the neurological benefit, the memory, the human connection through a song. And it transformed my work. And that's why I'm excited to bring this to so many people that perhaps don't think they have rhythm, but we all, if you have a heartbeat and you're alive, you are part of the rhythmic symphony.
Wow. Amazing stories. I didn't know about the whole background with Iraq, and much less the Alzheimer's. And so maybe you can share a little bit more about why rhythm is so central for, for healing, for transformation. Why, I mean, essentially we're rhythmic creatures, and that we kind of entrain with rhythm, and why, and how does that lead to downstream benefits?
Well, the Lakota have a saying that the Great Spirit loved the drum so much he gave everyone a heartbeat. And I think part of the power of it is it's so accessible. I mean, even people that can't keep a tune in a bucket can drum on a bucket. And so it has this way of pulling you in. In my work, what I've seen is the entrainment, which is a scientific principle that moves us from that individual consciousness to the we consciousness. When we all come together in a rhythm and you really can't resist it, you fall into this beat together, and that groove carries us. Even geese that fly in rhythm have 15% less effort because they are in that beat together. We know it when we work out. We don't work out without a beat. When we have a beat, we can move longer and easier. So this is an idea of how we can access the beauty of music, not just for listening, but for actually being the creator of the rhythms that are healing for your life.
I'd love for you to share a little bit about the specific ways that rhythm affects our brain waves too, because I know that's part of where the healing benefit comes, is that we synchronize our brain waves with rhythm as well, right?
One of the most interesting things is when we play an instrument from our own heart, just this improvisational playing, like I've been doing on this call. It changes our brain, and we actually turn off the brain areas that are dedicated to self-monitoring and self-judgment, and we activate the part of the brain that's related to meditation and self-expression. So I always say it's not just what rhythm does for us, it's what it undoes. That we can stop that mind of judgment and self-criticism, and we can free up a place that takes us out of the mind, out of the thinking mind, and fall into the heart.
And I know that one of the things you focus on also has to do with how we feel rhythm as a healing energy in our body. So if we're, there's one way which is just kind of go with the groove, but then you can actually take it on as a more intentional practice, right? I'd love for you to share a bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I can demonstrate that actually. And I know you have a drum too. You can play along, and people can play along with this. And what happens with the drum and with rhythm is that it ignites and excites our motor system, because we are a walking, talking, ticking, talking polyrhythm. I mean, we are a drum ourselves. We are a skin stretched over a shell. So what I'd like people to do to practice this is I'm going to play a rhythm, and I'm going to ask you to begin for the first minute to hold still. And that's because we override our tendency to tap our foot or bob our head. And you want to shut all of that into stillness so that you can notice where the drum speaks to your body. Rhythm is a medicine for the body. And you'll actually feel this. Sometimes you're surprised, like where is the rhythm speaking to my body? Because we're living in the era of individualized medicine. And so we can no longer say the drum, you'll feel it in your heart. I mean, it's really up to you. And I believe the rhythm comes to ourselves, in our bodies, in our cells, where we most need it. I believe the rhythm comes to our bodies where we most need it. So I'll begin, and just hold still for a minute, and then I'll invite you. It's time to move along. That's funny, to move along. It's time to move subtly, just where you feel the rhythm. the rhythm in your body, go ahead and move along. Let your body move to the beat. Take a breath. And see if you can still feel that beat going. And that's the power of entrainment. I mean, we fall in sync with that rhythm and we feel the rhythm somewhere in our physical body and deep in our cells. And as we move, whether it's subtle or large, we connect with that rhythm. And that's something I'm bringing into the course, is the embodiment of rhythm. So Ashe is a saying from the Yoruban tradition and in the Afro-Brazilian and Afro-Cuban, which means the creativity in me honors the creativity of you. Like namaste, but for creativity, Ashe.
Ashe. I love it. Well, it was interesting to as a practice to kind of sense first where the rhythm starts to move. And is there a logic about what needs to move and open our body? Is it more about like what particular beats correspond to different parts of our body? I'd love for you to share a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. Great question. There's a lot of difference between tempo changes. We all know that in our lives. Sometimes it's hard to slow down. For me, for many years, it was hard to meditate. But I found that if I drummed and then sat still afterwards, like we just did in that practice, I could sort of feel myself just land in the quiet and the stillness, because rhythm and stillness are polarities. So they help balance each other, and they're actually drivers towards one another. I also find that the 6/8 rhythm moves your hips and the 4/4 rhythm moves your feet. I'll do a quick demo of those. And some would say the feminine is the 6/8 and the masculine is the 4/4. So it's fun because in many world traditions, and we'll be learning world rhythms in our course, you have the polyrhythms of the 4 and the 3 dancing together. It's the weaving of the masculine and feminine. So here's something that often makes you feel more like swaying. We know that from skipping. Skipping is also that groove. So in Brazil, the rhythm of 4/4 is the parade. And I love that metaphor for Shift Network because we are coming together like an ensemble, moving together, marching together no matter what part you're playing. And in Brazil, people make shakers from soda cans and bass drums from garbage cans, and they march together to this beat that starts with the 4/4. And then is the whole topic of healing rhythms. I mean, one thing that happens with the drum is it has vibration, and you can use any drum in this course, but especially with the frame drum, if I hold it over my heart, that rhythm, that sound, vibration comes over my body, and I create a drum massage. So I can actually drive that interaction of my body and the drum through where I position it, how I position it over my body. There's a lot of levels to your great question in terms of the power of different rhythms. And I think it also really comes down to intention, because when you bring in the consciousness, and I've learned this from world traditions, and I've learned this from shamanic traditions and my studies with Lakota and Sufi, is that it really involves 3 keys, which is intention, posture, meaning how you hold the drum, and the expression, meaning the rhythm. So I thought of this healing rhythm for us this morning. I thought of this healing rhythm for us to do, which is pertinent to awakening your rhythm from the healing drum program I created, and it's called transformation. So this is a rhythm to take a moment, put your hand on your heart, and think about something you're transforming in your life. We certainly can think about what we would like to see transforming in the world, because it happens first in consciousness. So taking a deep breath into the inner drum, the inner rhythm, and feeling into your own connection to what is transformation for you. And then we put that into the rhythm, just using the phrase, transformation, brush, brush, transformation, brush, brush, transformation, brush, transformation, transformation, transformation. Ashe.
Ashe. Beautiful. All the insights that you have. I feel like you keep opening up new little worlds of understanding. Well, let's go. I know you have a demonstration you also want to do around the 4 element sounds of nature, and that's really a key element for awakening rhythm in a deeper way. So let's go there.
Yeah, thanks. So if you have a drum or you don't have a drum, either way, you always have your heart drum. And as I demonstrate these 4 sounds, this is an invitation to concentrate on your own intention with how do you connect to the element of earth, air, fire, and water, and of course the 5th element of ether or space, which is played like this, resting. Sometimes we all need more resting. That can be very healing. So we'll start with the earth and feeling grounded. Take a breath. I always begin hand on heart, taking a breath into my inner drum, because the whole focus of this course is awakening your rhythm. So coming from the inside into the outer expression and feeling the gratitude for your drum and your heart drum and putting that energy on your drum with an open sweeping hand. And then we start with the earth sound, which is the center, the low-pitched resonant sound. And think about what grounds you. Think about where in your life you need more grounding, more earth energy. Bringing in the element of water, which is a closed sound, like a water drop falling on the drum. So the earth and the water. Think about what flows through you in the water element. Where in your life do you need more flow? Remembering to breathe. Let's just put that in the drum, the air sound. So brushing on the drum creates that air sound. What breathes you? Where in your life do you need more breath? Where in the world do we need more breath? element of fire, tapping, picking that high sound on the rim of the drum. What ignites you? Where do we need more passion in our lives? Connect to the one element. If you had to pick one element today, the earth, the water, the air, the fire, you can play around with that sound on the drum. Close with that element of space, ether, taking a breath and resting, and then coming back to hand over heart. We take all that energy that we generated through drumming and bring it back to the inner drum. And thank you, Ashe. Aho.
Ashe. That's fascinating. I'd never thought about those different types of sounds as being connected to elements before. That just kind of is like, oh, it's an interesting revelation to think that each, the more staccato, the ping of the fire is like sort of igniting something, and then the whoosh of the air sort of soothing in a certain way. So it's beautiful. It really opens up a different understanding.
Thank you. That tradition.
Go ahead.
That tradition I learned from Lane Redman, who wrote the book When the Drummers Were Women. She's a great teacher, and she also studied with Sufi tradition from Hamza Eldin. And I think what's beautiful about this practice is that we remember that the drum carries us into nature. I mean, it's from nature. The drum shell is a tree hollowed out, and the hide was always, an animal connected. And even the Remo drums that I use that are vegan, vegetarian, made in America, they have an energy of the nature sounds. And I think sometimes when we need healing, we can just reach out and connect through sound. We're such visual people, but sound really connects us immediately to a deeper part of our brain. It's reptilian, it's primal, and it can shift us very quickly. I studied people, and it took 4 minutes, only 4 minutes, for people to change their biology through drumming. And that's pretty immediate uptake. When you compare that to pharmaceuticals, that's a speedy uptake.
Well, Christine, this super fascinating insights, and I love the little worlds that we're opening up by doing this. And I want to more explicitly link us now to some of the ancient shamanic traditions, the indigenous cultures around the world, that the drumming has been, in some ways, our first foundational spiritual practice. And I'd love for you to share a little bit more about how drumming can be used in a really specifically shamanic way to work with consciousness and to create healing rhythms for not just ourselves, but really a whole community.
So to me, one of the keys with drumming is how it connects us to the inner world, because the drum is our heart. So it takes 3 keys, and this really comes from ancient Himalayan tantric traditions of shamanism that predates Tibetan Buddhism, so from the Bon tradition. And as I work at Shambhala Mountain Retreat Center every year, I learn more and more about the drum, and all the medicine men or women, because there were many women shamans, carried the drum. And it's really part of becoming shamans of a new consciousness. And we are all part of this new consciousness. So by bringing together these 3 components of the intention, the posture, how we hold the drum, And third, what we play, what is our expression. We can all generate these healing rhythms. And I'm excited to show people this technique. I've been practicing this for a very long time. And especially taking your drum into nature and letting nature teach you rhythms. One of my favorite things, and there's so many images of ancient shamans sitting by rivers. Well, they were actually getting a lesson. They were learning the rhythms of nature, the rhythms of the river. It's an amazing tool to shift our own consciousness, to offer prayers, to carry prayers. I was very blessed to study for many years with a Lakota shaman as well. And he would always, Uncle Manny, eagle out, council pipe, Sandoval, and he would say, we'd start drumming and he'd say, just go inside the drum now. It would just be a simple invitation as a prompt like that. So because this is such an ancient instrument, and I had so much fun studying with Mickey Hart and working with Mickey Hart for many years, and he traced the history of the drum, it just is such a part of the human connection to the other realms, because you can find drums and rhythms and shamanism in many world cultures. The West is kind of behind. Most of the world is drumming and singing and connecting to one another and to the spirit realms. So I think it's good for us to get caught up so that we can be part of this global awakening with rhythm.
Beautiful. And how about for specifically for journeying or for getting guidance on things? I know that there's like certain kind of key foundational rhythms that are particularly strong for that, right?
I think the main rhythm that helps create guidance is the rhythm that you find for yourself. My goal is to help people explore their rhythmic vocabulary. And in connecting to that, I'm less of a teacher of a specific pattern. I mean, I think the revolutionary approach about this course is it comes from inside you. And it's amazing when you shift your consciousness into, oh, I can do this. This is part of my lineage. This is my birthright. For so long, women weren't allowed to drum. For so long, people have been told they don't have rhythm. And it's really time to shift that, to transform that, because this is going to be the heartbeat that connects us into a new consciousness on the planet. So I think finding your own rhythm, finding your connection to your drum through techniques like blessing your drum, discovering the different patterns from the world that have helped people connect to the spirits, but then really ultimately finding your creative voice.
Great. What a great answer. I know that we on the page describing today, we also talked about a rhythm mantra for mindfulness. And I think this would be a great time to explore that and as another practice that people can take home with them.
Great. So one thing that I love about active meditation, because I was never good at sitting still and being really quiet. I really love having the rhythm as my partner for meditation, because it is an active form of meditation. And as you breathe into the rhythm, as you really feel it pulsing you, we all have that inner pulse. And I love that impulse that comes from that word. We have an impulse towards connecting to a deeper part of ourselves. So if you take on a rhythm like a mantra, it's because it carries your mind out of the busy baloney monkey mind, and you get into this anchored part of the rhythm. We actually can speak the rhythms. Do, talk, do, talk, talk, do, talk, do, talk, talk, do. So to do a rhythm mantra practice right now, we'll start hand on heart. Always start this way. Breath, connecting to gratitude, connecting to the inner drum, putting that energy on the drum in gratitude. And exhale any worries, doubts, fears, whatever's in your mind. Take a breath in again. Exhaling again. Great opportunity to release what rhythm undoes. And then we'll start with the rhythm. You can say it with me. Do, talk, do, talk, do, talk, do, talk, do, with it. Notice the space between the sounds. Feel those spaces getting wider as you notice them. Close your eyes. Listen to the rhythm with the ears of your heart. And I'm going to tone in the drum to close this mantra practice. Oh.
Beautiful. Well, I was doing it right along with you there. It's beautiful and very trained. I liked what the singing at the end or toning into the drum. It's like reminding me of what your teacher said about enter into the drum. It's almost like a vibratory way to enter into the drum.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, I know that this is so much of your work is really built around not needing to be a professional of like any sort. This is really a kind of a universal inheritance, and that when we reconnect with our deeper rhythm and the potential for rhythm all around us, that the world opens to us in a different way, and that we're able to really connect with our higher selves and express that and embody that. So I'd love for you to also share a little bit about how you can create more rhythm around you with more just how to playfully turn found objects into sound and symphony.
And it's a great question, because the idea of found sounds goes from everything from really sacred traditional cultures of creating instruments for shamanic practice, from everything from seed pods to the clapper sticks of the Chumash Indians, which are always made from the elderberry trees, and the clapping sticks of the Aboriginals, all the way to Brazil, where you find people making instruments from soda cans and garbage cans. And so much of humanity has always been wanting to be in rhythm, that I think it comes through in that way. So I want to show you a couple of things from nature found sounds and from plastic containers that make it easy to create your own rhythms. Okay. So for example, these are a pair of Aboriginal clapper sticks. Beautiful artwork on them. And these are some seed pods I found in the parking lot of a grocery store in Encinitas, which I just decorated with Sharpies. Sometimes you can find instruments in life right in front of you in a parking lot. These are the clapper sticks from the Chumash tribe in Southern California, Los Angeles area. Ojai. Just decorated so beautifully with leather and beads. So what's interesting about found sounds from a cultural perspective is that you have instruments This is an African rattle with the cowrie shells. And here's a Native American rattle with coyote fur. And what I love is the teaching that sometimes the shells or the seeds are on the inside and hidden, and sometimes right obvious on the outside. Rattles are in the medicine wheel the direction of the east. Babies love rattles, and it represents new beginnings. And they're fun to make. This turtle shell is amazingly pitched. Let me play that with a stick. It's pretty incredible how much music there is in nature. I mean, this is just a gourd from a plant in the desert in Joshua Tree that I dried and decorated. You can even find bucket drumming, which I just took a nice cute bucket, decorated a little bit with a Sharpie, and then you can add sticks to it. I sometimes use chopsticks because they're lightweight and easy to play with. Here we go. Here we go. Or the 5-gallon water jug, which is a great instrument, and many of us have been writing positive affirmation words on our water for a long time, since Dr. Emoto's work on the water and intention. So I have a good water bottle full of words of joy, healing, and love. That was easy.
I love it. It does give you a whole new perspective on the world to see all the rhythmic possibilities everywhere you go.
And mallets are a whole other topic, because you can make mallets with felt, with leather. I once worked with a women's group of survivors of cancer, and they had lost their hair in the chemo process. So they put their hair inside the drum mallets. And as we drummed together some healing rhythms for women's empowerment, we used those mallets that were a reminder of the survivorship and the power of their healing journey. And a mallet has a whole different sound on a drum. I mean, if you closed your eyes and you didn't see this water bottle, I think you wouldn't believe this is actually coming from a plastic bottle, because it's got a deep, nice sound. So there's no excuse from go into your pantry, get some bottles and some legumes and some popcorn, and fill the bottles and decorate them and create your own rattles.
I love it. I love it. And it feels like it also just, there's a playfulness and creativity about it to find rhythm in this. And I like the way you're symbolically saying the hair weaving in the symbol of survivorship, so that when you create your rhythmic instruments, you're also symbolically invoking your own healing, your own awakening, your own kind of courage. There's different things that you can weave into it. So that makes it a really kind of multimodal way of working with your own evolution.
Yeah, it's a powerful thing to personalize your rhythm collection. And in our course, we're going to be creating our own percussion bag, the spice bag, what brings creativity to the rhythms. So the drum plus the percussion, and then you have this great opportunity to bring in new seeds of new beginning into your life, and whatever kind of drum you want to use or find or create.
Well, I love it. And I think this is a great opportunity now to talk more explicitly about your upcoming program with the Shift Network. And first of all, I want to say how delighted we are that we can offer this work, because it's been something of a hole in our overall panoply of courses that we haven't had something that really speaks to this very primal need we have for rhythm and how we can harness that for our own personal transformation and ultimately the benefit of the world. So the program is called Awaken Your Rhythm, Drumming for Spirituality and Health. And you can find it in more detail at awakenyourrhythm.com. Remember that rhythm is RHYTHM, RHYTHM, awakenyourrhythm.com. It's going to be a 7-week program. This is for anybody who's just curious. I mean, you might be on a path of shamanism or not, or you could be just curious about music. You might feel like you don't have a sense of rhythm and you want to develop it, or you might have been drawn to rhythm, but in a way that you've been just kind of playing around, but not really understand how to do it in a more intentional way that can really fuel deeper levels of healing and recognition and transformation. So this is really about rhythm as a vehicle for your awakening and for ultimately your healing, for your health and well-being. So Christine, I'd love for you to share in your own words what people are going to be getting when they take this 7-week journey into rhythm with you.
So the design of the Awaken Your Rhythm course is a revolutionary approach to drumming that comes from inside you. So we're beginning with your rhythm, finding your rhythm, and we'll move through different modules, everything from finding how to play and hold a drum, how to play different sounds on any drum, and in how to put them together in patterns. And these are the key things of how drums work and the mantra of drumming, which is this circularity of repeating rhythms. And they start to become woven together inside you and help you find your creative voice. And that's that improvisation that changes your brain. So we'll have a module on creating your groove. And it is fun. This doesn't have to be hard and heavy. When you start getting down with the drum, you find a lot of creative energy, that impulse that's in you. And it's a lot of fun to bring that out and share that with each other. It's exciting to have this Facebook group where we can all post and share. And because the drum is a global language, we can all talk in rhythm together. And we'll also be exploring healing rhythms, everything from working through shadow energy, emotions that need to be released. I always call it shadow drumming. And in my work with people with trauma, with in disaster zones, we've really been able to find ways to use the drum. The drum can handle our deepest feelings. And then also putting our intentions through this 3-part formula of healing with rhythm. Then we're going to be using our voice. One thing I love about the drum is it's the pulse of chanting. So finding your power song and learning sacred chants that we can sing to the earth, to greet the day, a gratitude song. Key songs that I've learned in my travels that help me anchor my life in beauty and song. And how do we orchestrate those songs with the drum? I mean, the drum is the pulse that holds the song. So learning how to tap the side of the drum at the beginning of the song and then going into the center, the dynamic contrasts that create beauty. And we're also going to be working on the concept of embodying the beat, moving, finding rhythm through the impulse of the body, feeling the healing of a drum massage. You can do this for yourself, or you can do this in your work with others. The vibration of the drum, and also learning these 4 element sounds and how we can connect to the healing power of nature through rhythm. And then I have 2 extraordinary guests coming that are going to teach you world rhythms from West Africa, from Burkina Faso, and from Egypt. And you don't want to miss this opportunity to have a global rhythm party as the culmination of our course. And we're also going to have a session on meditation and trance. There are trance rhythms that are so powerful for the meditation goal of getting out of your mind, but also exploring that polarity of rhythm and silence. It's amazing to me how the drum becomes active meditation, and then that powerful moment of silence after the beat, when you just drop in, and how to honor that stillness. So there's such a wide variety of energies that have woven together in this new course. The actual seeds of this course came when I was meditating in a sacred space, and I actually heard the title of the course, Awaken Your Rhythm, and I'm trusting that guidance. And these components, I think, bridge beautifully together to allow you to feel creatively empowered through rhythm.
Love it. Well, it sounds absolutely fascinating, and it's an amazing opportunity to connect with our most ancient spiritual practice that predates anything else, from meditation to yoga. Rhythm goes deep into hundreds of thousands of years ago, probably into our primate ancestors were using rhythm as a way to connect with each other and to speak a different kind of language of sound and vibration that opens new possibilities. So really, really great opportunity, and it's really clear from how you're sharing here today. Just you're going to make it a lot of fun as well. You have a infectious passion and enthusiasm that people really will get from the program. So I'll share a little bit more about it. So again, you can find it at awakenyourrhythm.com, awakenyourrhythm, RHYTHM.com. This is going to be a live stream video program. So you can see Christine, you can see the rhythms, you can see some of the instruments she's using. It really enhances it, so it's much more like a in-person, face-to-face program. You're also going to have recordings, video recordings, audio recordings, and PDF transcripts of every class session. And it's really going to be very experiential. So this is not just a theoretical class. You get some of those theoretical foundations and key insights, but it's really about developing a practice of rhythm and using that as a vehicle for your healing and transformation, which is also making your evolution more fun too as well. So if you look on the page, there's also a number of great bonuses that we're adding into this program. There's a guided audio practice from Christine called Awaken Your Inner Music. You can see more detail about that there. We also have a full play-along audio album from her called Drum, Reviving Rhythms. And this is part of your at-home play or homework or whatever you want to call it, where you can really engage these practices in a way that enriches your life over the whole 7-week journey and beyond. There's also a video teaching from Christine on the science of drumming, which is really interesting. We got a little taste of that today, but there's really good science. The whole field of sound healing is emerging as a very legitimate form of healing in hospitals, and there's a lot of research around it. So understanding the science behind that and how it can really enhance your consciousness, your healing, your overall health and well-being. And we also have an extra bonus, which is, in fact, we have 2 bonuses rather that are available only until midnight. And we like to do this as a way to encourage you to go to the page at Awaken Your Rhythm, RHYTHM, and make a decision today. We find you're right now listening to Christine, you have the most information and the best available insight. So when you sign up today, then you get an extra bonus for doing so, actually 2 extra bonuses. So the first is called Awaken Your Rhythm Conscious Drumming Compilation. This is an audio collection from various artists, and it's been curated by Christine. Christine, you want to share anything about that bonus?
Yeah, this is really an extraordinary, it doesn't exist anywhere, and it represents the community of the drum circle world and world percussion instructors that are great colleagues and friends of mine. Everyone from Ileana Gilad from Israel, who contributed some tracks from her Voices of Eden project, to Kim Atkinson drumming for Afro-Brazilian carnival rhythms, to Frank Lazaro teaching Egyptian trance rhythms, to Cameron Tummel teaching you djembe pattern rhythms, to Arthur Hall, the father of the drum circle movement, with James Asher, recorded in London, play-along tracks of the heartbeat. It is and Marla Lee Goldstein, great frame drum meditation tracks. I just made a lot of phone calls, and so many friends and colleagues helped put together this CD. My vision for this is that because drumming is this oral tradition, when you listen to these rhythms, it changes your biology, it changes your consciousness, and you can easily play along, move along, laugh along, as you mentioned, the fun of this, dance along, and this is a tool of conscious drumming practice. Exciting bonus.
Love it. We also added another bonus, which is from the Shift Network library. This is a video dialogue between Sandra Ingerman and Heather Ashamara, who are two of our favorite shamanic teachers. It's called Staying Centered in Times of Change, Holding and Sharing Your Light with the World. So that's also available when you sign up right away on the page at awakenyourrhythm.com. So a few things I should also mention is that it starts on March 12th. The classes are going to be at Tuesdays at noon Pacific. Even if you can't make that because of work or other commitments, you can get the full value because we make the recordings available right away, and you get to participate in the community and have all the exercises. So you can still very much do the journey if you can't make Tuesdays at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. And we've also kept the investment really accessible for this. It's just 3 payments of $109, or you save about 10% when you pay in full with $297. So it's really an opportunity to open a whole new world of practice for your growth, for your transformation, also for your community. There's a way in which rhythm does bring people together in unique and beautiful ways, So when you can start to weave rhythm into circles and gatherings, it does create a new sense of camaraderie and connection, and even healing very difficult situations like Christine mentioned in Iraq. So it's a potent thing to add to your transformational toolkit to engage this work, and we're really delighted to be offering it. So Christine, we're just right at the end of our time together. It's been really illuminating hour, and I love just the brightness of your spirit and the playfulness with which you share your insights and practices. Anything that still remains on your heart you want to share with folks who are considering joining you for the next 7-week journey?
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm in so much gratitude during this call, feeling like it is a significant moment in history that through Shift Network, we are bringing rhythm into awakening. What I wanted to share was when I heard you spell rhythm, I thought we should have a rhythm for that. RHYTHM. RHYTHM. Awaken your rhythm. Awaken your rhythm. Awaken your RHYTHM.
Amen. Well, that's great. Well, I love your spirit of offering this work, and it's really clear that you've steeped yourself in so many traditions, drawing from Iraq to shamans to people like Mickey Hart. You've really woven together a lot of fascinating threads. So thank you for this hour, and thank you for the Awaken Your Rhythm program that's coming up. And I know people are going to be really blessed to join you. So all of you out there, you're warmly welcome to join Christine on this journey of liberation and awakening and healing at awakenyourrhythm.com, RHYTHM. So thanks all, and thank you, Christine, for a beautiful hour.
Thank you.